watching Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
Only on Shade 45. Y'all better tune in or these guys is coming at you.
Turn it up.
Now, this guy right here, when you see this man, he's one of those people that you just absolutely trust. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like what Walter Cronkite was. I said that correctly.
We know who you mean. We know who you mean.
Walter
You know what I mean?
Cronkite.
It's all right.
You did.
Don't let them straighten you, huh?
What Howard Cosell was to
Howard said more.
boxing commentary. What Walter was to broadcast journalism, he is to broadcast medicine. The one and only Dr. Drew is here.
Sing it. Say it.
There you
Come
go,
on,
brother.
man.
I had to bring it together. It's
Preach.
Monday, man.
Preach.
I had some green juice this morning.
Me
Dr.
too.
Drew. So I'm on edge.
That could
right
be a lot
now.
of different things.
Yeah. Well, green juice for me was some kale, some cucumber, and some parsley, and a bunch of green things.
Got it.
I like to start my morning off with. I swear,
Good
it makes me feel like my mind is more active. Things are circulating,
does.
metabolism. Is this
Sure?
Is it true? Is this really happening?
Could be. I know when I exercise, it definitely has improved my acuity for sure.
Yeah. How often do you exercise, Dr.
4
Drew?
days a week.
4 days
I
a
try.
week. How long?
They did the reservoir yesterday. I ran Riverside Park. It's good. Like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And not just running. Like I lifted weights at New York Sports Club and then ran.
The fuck? I mean, what you doing, man? You're rich. You don't have to do all of this. What are you doing?
What?
You can be.
Your health don't
I'm
care
old
about your
too.
bank account.
Last time I was in here, I was talking about my prostate cancer.
That's
remember?
right. We were talking about it, and we were asking it how did it affect your sex life.
It's really good. There's no problem.
Yeah, okay.
I just no ejaculate.
So
Because you don't produce fluids when you have a prostate.
That's hot.
You don't bust?
You do, but nothing comes out.
That's fire.
So air comes out?
No, nothing. Just no air, no nothing. It's all right. It's all good.
But do you feel the orgasm?
Yeah, everything's normal. Everything's normal. You don't produce the prostate is what produces the fluid, right?
Yeah.
It stores it in the seminal vesicles. That's all gone.
That's all gone. Do you last longer?
Maybe a little bit, but that's it. But that could be just because I'm older.
Does the orgasm as intense?
Yeah. Yeah. No change. I know it's hard for you to understand.
No, it's hard for any of us under.
But let me tell you something. I work for an organization called the Prostate Cancer. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But let me give you a sidebar here. Prostate Cancer Foundation, PCF.org. African American men got to get on this.
Yeah,
that's one of our big pushes because you're more likely to get prostate cancer. You're more likely to have aggressive forms. You're more likely to die of it.
Yeah.
So get your.
I had that done once.
Good, and the blood test too when you're 50. So,
oh, okay, I'm not there. So all right, great. So when you're getting head.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You have to say oral sex.
I thought he said I was respected.
No, I'm just.
Would you ask Walter Cronkite that question?
Absolutely.
Fellatio, when you're receiving fellatio.
These ladies got my back.
Yeah,
I'm over here.
But what
with
is
these
the
guys.
finale
Come
like?
here.
Like, what is the finale like?
Normal. They're like same as yours.
Really?
Just cleaner. Less messy.
You messy, Sway.
Dr. Drew, I feel
Dr.
weird
Drew,
hugging you while
this
you're
is
saying
good.
your fellatio is less messy.
Yeah, hug him, Heather.
I know, he needs some
Hug him.
love.
All right,
This
man.
is good.
Hey, man.
I'm never
Dr.
leaving
Drew,
the studio.
You're not here for this, man. So I'm going to go ahead.
I'm here to talk about HLN, which is a show I do live, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock out here in the East. It's got an audience now. And I got to tell you something. Almost every time we get into a conversation there, we're getting deep into the Black Lives Matter stuff. A lot of race stuff comes up. So on October 27th, we're going to do a special where I have an audience. Going to fill it just with black folk, and me, I'll be the only white guy.
It's going to be like the slave master or something, man.
No,
I mean, look, you got all of them in the audience, but you running the show.
No, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Heather's coming. She can run the show.
Heather, you got something to say about that?
It's all done.
You didn't tell me what y'all gonna be talking about, Dr. Drew. What's happening?
It depends on the stories in the week. As every week we can end up talking about stories of inequity, problems with the cops, problem with it. And I said, well, somebody just because we did a thing, we filled the audience with transgender folk. They straightened me out. We did a thing, we filled it with Trump supporters. They straightened me out. And I thought, we're doing Black Lives Matters all the time. Let me talk to my black friends.
Man, I appreciate that, man.
I'm into that.
I appreciate that.
It's a good thing, right?
Because, people, it's interesting when the black perspective comes up. It's like it's this alternative perspective.
Well, the other thing is, I think a lot of white folk are afraid of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid. I'm like, why? What do we be afraid of? It's like, they're afraid they're going to misstep or they're going to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I understand that. And you guys can straighten me out where I do. And I will fuck up. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Black Lives Matter.
That's what I'm saying there, Dr. Drew.
But why be let's get going.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. I'm going to be watching that. That's when?
October 27th.
Okay. And Dr. Drew is here. Dr. Drew on call. You get Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, HLN. You want to talk with him anything? You want to talk about, I don't know, ejaculating with no ejaculant?
Oh, my God.
With no ejaculant?
Oh, man. I'm with these ladies over here.
888-742-3345. Anything.
And said, I got to go.
Yeah. Dr. Drew is here. And Dr. Drew on calls Monday through Thursday on HLN, 9 p.m. And, we've been talking about Lamar Odom and his condition. Thankfully, it's gotten better.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah,
he's going to make it through this.
At one point, you didn't think he would make it through.
I didn't. When they were saying he was unresponsive and there might have been strokes, I thought, wow, this may not be something you want to recover from. But when a young person starts making even small progress from an intensive care event over time at the beginning of their treatment course, that's going to go pretty well.
I like what you said about Chloe, because in the middle of all this, a lot of folks call it the Kardashian curse because so many men, their lives.
Did you see that Daily News thing yesterday?
What'd they do?
They did a huge, multi-page thing about how the Kardashians are basically killing men. I'm like,
wow.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
These are grown boys. They're making their own choices. They're fine.
That's what Tracy said. He knew what he was getting into.
Oh, okay.
Like when he got with Chloe.
Yeah, and Chloe doesn't hate the guy. A lot of people, when they're involved with addicts, they get frustrated and leave out of anger.
Yeah.
She says, I love this guy. He's a great guy. Everybody loves Lamar, but I can't be in his life while I see him killing himself. And that's the right thing to do. You go, I'm out. I'm goodbye.
As a doctor, what do you think the results of all this will be for him? Like, will he ever have normality?
Again, we don't know yet the extent of what happened neurologically. If it was just what we call a hypoxic insult, like he wasn't breathing well for a while, he's going to be normal. The problem is he going to be sober? And I see both camps of patients, ones that get out of these sorts of experiences and don't really believe they're going to die and keep using, and ones that understand they're going to die, and that's a workable patient. And he needs to go away for a long time if he's in that camp, if he's ready to go. It's a lot of work, man. It's hard to stay sober.
Someone else that people were really, really concerned with, Amanda Bynes. I know she had a meltdown. I remember there were reports saying that it stemmed from bipolar disorder. And she's getting acclimated back into her social world and professional world.
Yep.
What do you think? What are the different levels with bipolar disorder? Because we're hearing about it so much more.
There's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. And if that was bipolar that she had, that was a true mania as opposed to a hypomania. Like Charlie Sheen was a hypomanic episode. And that may or may not have been related to drugs. We don't know. But Amanda Bynes, if that was bipolar, again, looking at what was going on with her, she was disconnected from reality. She was thinking strange things. She was delusional. So that's a true mania. Remember that guy that did, what's the Coney? Or remember that guy did that documentary about the children's soldier in Africa?
Oh, yeah.
And he went nuts down to San Diego. South Park actually did a thing about him. He threw his clothes off and was running around masturbating out in public.
Oh, wow.
That's mania.
Yeah.
That's mania. I mean, people will say to me, how dare you diagnose somebody? You don't know them. Look, if I were teaching a group of medical students and I was going to show them what manic was, I would show them a video of that guy. And I would say, that is a manic episode. That's as bad as it gets. That's somebody disconnected from reality.
Tale.
Right.
Jason Russell. That was his name, right? Jason Russell. Let me ask you, is there a condition, because this is a relatively new phenomenon? Well, maybe not, because reality TV has been around for 25 or more years now.
That long now? Jesus.
Is there a condition, because we see a lot of folks who establish some sort of celebrity status, whether it's legitimate or not, and then we see when they lose it, they kind of lose it, right? Is that a condition caused by fame or celebrity?
Yeah, I've often wanted to do some sort of study or documentary where we just did like after reality, look what happens to people in their lives. And I remember I was part of Big Brother 1. I did some commentary for them.
I remember that.
And I remember how turned on those people were. They thought this is it, man. Having a big career. They moved out to Los Angeles and they ended up living in motels and like losing a lot.
Yeah.
And so there is, if you're too narcissistically sort of turned on by being in the public, it's going to be a problem.
Let's talk to Heather because she was on Real World 1. All right. Dr. Drew, can you?
Yeah, but she made a career out of it. You understand? There are people that make careers in the public.
Let me clear my name, Dr. Drew. I had some form of notoriety prior to doing Real World.
Yeah.
Like they told me it was a documentary, so it was not really the same thing, and the stakes were a lot less. It was a real show. It wasn't a script. That's why Real World 1 was shot the way and it looks the way it looks. I had a record deal and everything prior to getting on that show. Yeah. So it was a little different for me being in front of the camera than maybe some other people.
Michael's on the line from Virginia. Good morning, Michael. You have a question for Dr. Drew?
Yeah, Doc. I've been having this shit going on dealing with dicks and stuff, and I've gotten STD tested for it all, and I keep getting, like, dry skin on my dick, and I swear to God it's a yeast infection.
Yeah, it's not.
But
it's not. So here's the deal. I see a lot of men like this. Wait,
what is he got? What?
I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's these men who develop these minor dermatological changes on their skin, of their genitalia.
Yeah.
They go to urologists, they go to dermatologists, they go to infectious disease doctors, and all of them tell them it's nothing. And they continue to obsess about it. And it's an obsessive compulsive problem, my friend. And I treat these guys all the time, and you put them on a whiff of an SSRI and the obsession goes away.
A whiff of what?
An antidepressant kind of medication, and it goes away.
I don't understand his dick is changing colors?
It's not. He's got a little scaly patch, and he's obsessing about it. He's convinced he's got some kind of STD.
Okay, all right. Yeah, all right, thanks, Mike.
It's men, when they're going to obsess, they obsess about their junk.
He got an ashy dick.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to develop an obsession, that's where it goes, oftentimes.
Look, he got Nivea.
No, but they won't take any reassurances.
Yeah, but
they can't be reassured.
If you got ashy dick, Nivea.
Oh,
all right. We got
not Vaseline intensive care.
No, just get you some Nivea. Curtis from Georgia is on the line. Kurt, what's your question for Dr. Drew?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, fam.
Good morning.
Hey, Doc. I'm concerned, man. I sweat a lot, man. I mean, I can make the least little moves or whatever, man. I'm always constantly sweating. I really sweat, man.
Yeah.
It could be cold. It could be wet. It could be hot.
And
I'm
wait, is that
a condition? Huh?
Is there a particular part of your body that sweats? Hands, armpits, forehead?
Nah, my whole body.
Everywhere.
My whole body. Yeah.
The only thing I would say, I don't know that as much. They can sort of clip the sympathetic ganglia that innervate particular regions if you have sweaty hands or sweaty forehead, that sort of thing. But if it's in your entire body, the only thing I could advise is make sure you're not hyperthyroid or have some sort of metabolic issue that's triggering this. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of good treatment for that I'm aware of.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That's not a condition. right?
No, just get your thyroid checked. It's the only thing I would say.
And quit eating grease. All right, Curtis. Thank you. All right.
That ain't right.
Hey, Dr. Drew, before you cut out, man, DB came up with something really clever for you.
That's right.
You being a doctor and being well-educated, I think you'll feel really challenged by this.
All right.
A little sex education.
Okay.
Citizens, little sex ed with Dr. Drew.
All right.
Now on Sway in the morning.
Sway, don't look at me like that.
We thought about this.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Watching too much porn can be harmful.
Well, yes, there are porn addictions out there for sure, and then the guys we were seeing, there's a website called centerforhealthysex.com. If you have porn,
Hold on, let me
addictions,
get that
because and so we are seeing raging porn addictions these days with some of these younger men because it's a whole syndrome developing now with incels. You heard about this?
What's that?
Incels, involuntary celibates. These young males, they go. I know. Don't look at me like that again. Guys that can't get laid, they're oftentimes kind of socially awkward. They're finding like-minded guys down in the dark web and 4chan and stuff, and they blame women, and they often exposed to porn at a young age, and they really get going with the porn. So they never have the sort of motivation to go out and develop social skills.
What determines addiction? Is it a daily watching?
You're hurting yourself. You can't stop. You're having consequences in other areas of your life. You'd like to stop. You can't.
Right.
And I've seen bad ones.
I don't have addiction.
I'm going to sell my computer when I get
All right,
home.
next question.
Number 2. Is it true that incest causes birth defects?
Well, if you actually conceive, consanguinity is associated with birth issues, yes. Yes.
Okay. Consanguinity.
With closeness of your genetic heritage.
You can't hump your mama.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, next question.
Lambskin condoms are useless. True or false?
Wrong. They're good. They're not good for certain infectious diseases, but they're good.
Okay, they could keep you from getting someone pregnant. If
That's right.
Used correctly.
People like those.
All right. Is it true that if the penis is severed, you only have 24 hours to reattach it?
I think you have less than that, but let's not even go there.
Yeah,
huh? Why are we going there?
That wasn't my question.
I read an article. It just said,
DB.
all right, you know. Last but not least,
I would not want to reattach a penis that was 24 hours old.
Yeah, right.
That would be kind of
like a lot of bacteria might have ate off the edges.
Wow.
Especially if it was raining and it dropped in the puddle.
been in your pocket with lint.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
All right.
Can I never leave here? This is too fun.
All right, here's a topic that's come up a few times on this show. Is squirting real or is it pee?
It can be both. Some women actually emit urine, and that's actually been proven. And some will actually have an ejaculate. There's a gland near the urethra called the periurethral gland that if you look at it under a microscope, it's identical to the prostate. And the prostate, as we've discussed earlier, is what creates the fluids. Yeah. And so women have a similar gland. In some women, that gland is kind of developed, and so they produce a bunch of fluid.
Is that what they affectionately call the G-spot?
No, G-spot is that it's just a nervous tissue in the back of the pubic bone there. But then some women, way too much is made of that G-spot. Some women, about 10%, well, about 60% of women cannot have an orgasm with intercourse. They will not have one with intercourse. And of those 40 or so percent that can, about 20% of those will have multiple orgasms. They're stealing it from all the rest. And and the ones that are multiply orgasmic with intercourse tend not to like oral sex, while the ones that can't orgasm with intercourse need something like oral sex to have an orgasm.
Don't even look over this way and start asking for fucking numbers, Sway. Get away. I hate him, Dr. Drew. I hate Sway.
I'm right between you. I'm right between you. I got your back.
All right. Hey, Dr. Drew, man, I want to... Wait a minute, hold up. Tracy has a real game-changing question for you.
Why, thank you. Well, you know, Dr. Drew, a couple of weeks back, Victor Cruz was in the news because his fiance was exposing him by tweeting out all these women he allegedly was having affairs with. And we've seen this all the time, men in power, whether it's like Bill Cosby having sex with a lot of women, whether it's politicians. Where does that come from?
Why do men have a lot of sex when they're in power?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, well, men like to have a lot of sex. It's something called the Coolidge effect. You ever heard of this?
No.
Well, mammals, male mammals like diversity. They just do. That doesn't mean they have to do that. And I actually have a tremendous disdain for men that do that, because my thing is, hey, do that when you're young. Don't get married. Go ahead. Do that if that's what you want to do. But once you get married, cut the fuck out already. And if you're doing it, then I worry something else is going on. Like there's some reason that's happening. Now, some of these men go to positions of power so they can do this. Okay. That's why they have such drive to get there. But the fact that they need to do it, that to me is like something that I would sit down and talk with somebody about. Because how can you ever have real relationships? How can you have family? How can you have continuity? You miss a lot by just having sex all the time. So you hear that, Sway? You hear me?
And they cry when the women women do it to them. That's what I don't like.
We get totally freaked out about it. Totally freaked out. They'll kill somebody.
Okay,
I don't want to hear about that.
Okay, we just went from Dr. Drew to Oprah, all in one conversation, one question. All right, thank you. Here's the simple reason why Tracy ain't nothing like some new pussy.
Well, that men are especially activated by that. It's something. So make sure, another thing, whoever you marry, make sure you're into them. Because, you're not going to be more in later. Make sure
that's from my younger days.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
All right, thank you,
here's
Dr. Drew.
Two things. Watch my HLM program. It's live, 6 on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Get your prostate checked, PCF.org. If you're a man over 50, particularly African-American man. Now, first, a straight man on this one thing. Do I say black or African-American?
Say whatever you feel comfortable.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say both, whatever I feel good.
Sometimes I say man of color.
Men of color need to get their prostate checked. That you're more likely to get severe prostate cancer, complication from prostate cancer, PCF.org, and that website for sex health, centerforhealthysex.com.
Okay, just don't say nigga.
I don't say that.
Okay, all right.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.